God's chosen ones you became. God before your time, they saw a human turn into God, God's chosen ones. Stop and listen. Tonight, Friday, November 7th. When the clock touches 11:47 p.m., a sign will open the door you have prayed for. If 4 or 777 just crossed your path, it is not random, it is heaven knocking. Do not click away. There is a word with your name on it. If you're ready, whisper, "I am listening." Look around your room as if it were a small chapel. The wind nudges the curtain and leaves a cool trace that makes you shiver. Somewhere close, the 11th bell just rang. On the dim screen, 11:44 slips to 11:45, then 11:46, and 11:47. In this very moment, you are hearing this not by algorithm, but by appointment. Chosen one, you've carried invisible scratches for so long. Some nights you sit still with a hand on your chest just to keep your heart from breaking. Some days you try to smile while your eyes feel heavy as a sky full of rain. And amid all the noise, you've been waiting for a sign, something to tell you that you are not lost. Tonight that sign unfolds. They said you became sacred before your time, but only God knows how many tears led to that affirmation. You have walked through rooms of doubt, your own and everyone else's. You listened to cold reports about what is impossible. Then, like a streak of light across the wall, something holy touched your skin and left a radiance even ordinary eyes could see. It frightened you, and it made you know. Tonight we will decode why you are called now, why trial becomes anointing, and why a door has stayed shut until this 11:47. I'm not here to lecture, I'm here as a messenger. A hand will rest on your shoulder, a sentence will pour through your heart, and a door will click like a soft breath. If you're ready, let your soul grow still. Whisper, "Speak, I am listening," and step with me into part 1. Part 1, the night gate and the sign. I sure wonder for 4. That night, the wind slipped through the crack of the door, whispering like a voice from another world. The clock on the wall ticked to 11:44. The candle on the table trembled, bowing gently, as if greeting something sacred drawing near. In that stillness, you could hear your own breath, slow, heavy, yet steady. No other sound, only the heartbeat keeping time with the ticking second hand leading you toward a destined moment. You don't know why, but something inside urged you to look at your phone. The screen lit up 11:44 p.m. A strange feeling washed over you. Fear mixed with knowing, as if you were about to witness something. That number 11:44, it had followed you too many times on receipts and dreams, even on license plates you passed on the road. You used to think it was coincidence, but tonight, as the candle flame leaned and the smoke spiraled upward, you understood it was a sign. A voice inside your mind, soft as breath along your neck, whispered, "This is the hour when you will see the gate." You startled, turned around, no one there. Only the candle and the clock now touching, 11:45. In that moment, memories rushed back, years of testing, of silent prayers, of nights you sat alone, hand over your heart, asking, "Lord, will I ever see the light again?" And now that light touched you, not from the sky, but from deep within your chest. The first door opens not outside, but inside. You hear a faint crack, the invisible wall around your heart giving way. Old pain, instead of breaking you, becomes a thin beam of light, slipping through the fracture. You realize the wounds were never meant to destroy you, they were meant to make space for faith to enter. That is the night gate, the passage between the earthly and the divine, which opens when your heart stops resisting. When the clock turned 11:46, the candle flared higher, brighter than before. Across the wall, a strip of light swept by and vanished. In that instant, you saw yourself tired, frail, yet surrounded by a soft glow. You remembered every moment you felt lost, unfinished work, broken love, forgotten promises. Each time you asked, "Why is God silent?" And now, in the stillness of this night, you understand He was never silent. He was preparing you to hear more clearly. The clock struck 11:47. A warm breath brushed across your neck, and in your mind a whisper rose gentle, clear, close enough to feel, "Do not be afraid. You've come far enough to see your own light." The first tear fell. It didn't taste bitter like sorrow, it was sweet like release. You didn't know why, but suddenly everything grew quiet. No more ticking, no more wind, only peace spreading through your body, as if every cell recognized that something holy had just begun. You lifted your head toward the candle now burning low. In its dim glow, memories appeared like pages turning an outstretched hand in a storm, a prayer written in tears, a recurring dream of a door that never opened. All of it merged into one truth for three numbers, three confirmations that divine order was returning, that every chaos had only been the prelude to peace. The gate opened not with a key, but with the stillness of your heart, and you realized you were never abandoned. You were chosen, and 11:47 was the exact moment your soul was called by name. A soft breath slipped from your lips, and you whispered almost inaudibly, "I've heard you. I'm ready." The candle flickered, then steadied. Outside, the wind fell silent, and within that calm you knew the sacred had truly begun. Part 2, the holy skin and the testimony. The room glowed with a soft white light, gentle as morning mist. A faint scent of antiseptic lingered in the air, mingling with the fragrance of a forgotten cup of chamomile tea. Charts of the human body lined the walls, precise, anatomical, rational. Everything appeared scientific, logical, except for one thing: your presence. You sat there quietly, your hands resting on your knees, listening to the steady beep, beep of the heart monitor. Yet beneath your skin you felt something else, a warm current of light moving within you. The doctor couldn't see it, but you knew your body was no longer the same. It wasn't a fever. It wasn't a reaction. It was sacred light breathing through you. You remembered the first time you noticed your skin glowing. It wasn't a blinding brilliance that shocked the eye, only a soft golden shimmer, as if a remnant of sunlight had chosen to stay upon your skin long after night had fallen. You thought it was a trick of the light, so you rubbed your arm hard, but the glow remained. That night, you couldn't sleep. You stared at your hands for hours beneath the dim lamp, half afraid, half certain that something beyond human understanding was taking place. The next morning, you went to the hospital. They took skin samples, examined them under microscopes, measured cellular responses. Everything appeared normal, except for one thing: the energy readings from your skin were dozens of times higher than that of an ordinary human. Doctors, biologists, even psychologists gathered, puzzled, speechless. They couldn't find a medical cause yet. They couldn't deny what was in front of them. People came from everywhere: theologians, ancient language, scholars, traditional healers, all eager to witness the one with the holy skin. You sat in the center of the circle, cameras flashing, questions pouring in. Does it hurt? Do you hear voices? Did you ever pray for something like this? You stayed silent, because no answer could capture what you were living. It wasn't a miracle to display. It was a union between science and faith, between the human and the unseen. The first person who truly believed you wasn't a doctor, but a scholar of ancient symbols. He brought an old scroll found in Egypt, engraved with an image of a person whose skin radiated light, called the bearer of the dawn mark. The script read, "When time falls into disorder, that one shall appear. The light upon their skin is the word of heaven." When he unrolled the scroll before you, your heart trembled. He looked at you for a long moment and said, "I didn't come to prove. I came to bear witness." Those words made your eyes sting. For so long you had felt like someone stranded between two worlds, one ruled by reason, the other by faith. And now someone stood before you, asking no questions, demanding no proof, simply affirming the sacred can be real. Soon the doctors formed a research group. They called it the Light Project, a collaboration between science and religion. In the lab, infrared scans revealed strange markings appearing beneath your skin shapes that resembled ancient symbols. Egyptologists identified them as signs connected to the consciousness of resurrection, the eternal life within mortal flesh. No one could explain why those symbols appeared. They tried everything: light, chemicals, magnetic waves, yet the phenomenon could not be replicated in anyone else. A young doctor whispered, "We're no longer studying a human body. We're standing before Scripture made flesh." During those days, you felt both the subject and the witness. There were moments you grew weary: the bright lights, the endless stares, the questions heavy with doubt. But sometimes in the middle of the tests, everything would go quiet, and you'd see it, everyone in the room pausing. No longer scientists, no longer believers, just souls standing before what they could not define. One female doctor began to cry while looking at your light spectrum results. She said softly, "I've never believed in God, but today I believe there's something beyond us." She didn't touch you, only placed her hand over her heart. The light from your skin reflected on her cheeks, and her tears shone like glass. That was the first time you didn't feel alone. All those years you had believed your difference was a curse that no one could understand. The signs, the dreams, the number 444 that kept following you. But in that room, surrounded by the quiet hum of machines and the warmth of faith, you realized you were finally seen. No longer needing to prove, no longer begging to be believed. Just being was enough. The team decided to stop calling you the patient. They gave you a new name, the light bearer. Every morning when you entered the lab, you no longer met skeptical eyes but smiles of reverence. They recorded everything. Your heartbeat slowed when you prayed. The energy around you intensified when you forgave, and the glow upon your skin blazed brightest when you sang hymns alone. They were no longer studying to disprove but to understand. One day, an elderly priest arrived. He carried no cross, wore no robe, only an old rosary, its beads worn by time. He stepped close to you without a word and placed his hand on your shoulder. A gentle current moved through your body, not painful, just alive. The light on your skin spread outward, filling the entire room. Everyone fell silent, and he whispered, "This light is not here to prove anything. It is here to heal." From that moment, you were no longer afraid. You understood that what was happening wasn't a private miracle. It was a bridge between two shores where science ends, faith begins, where humanity stops searching for explanations and starts seeking meaning. In the final meeting, a physicist said quietly, "Perhaps we'll never fully understand this phenomenon, but maybe science doesn't always need to explain. Sometimes it's enough to admit that the sacred exists within the structure of the human being." You smiled. Outside, the afternoon sun poured through the glass, resting gently on your skin. The light wasn't harsh, just soft as breath. You lifted your hand and watched tiny golden particles dance across your arm, alive, divine, yet familiar as your own pulse. Then a voice rose within, not a warning this time, but a tender affirmation. You don't need to prove the light. You are the proof. You closed your eyes, letting warmth fill your body. There was no fear, no loneliness, only perfect harmony between spirit and flesh, between human and heaven, between what is seen and what is unseen. That night, when you returned home, the glow was still there. You stood before the mirror for a long while. The light touched your reflection and the corner of your eyes. You smiled softly and whispered, "Thank you for letting me be seen and believed." Outside your window, the moon draped the world in a silver veil. The wind stirred the curtain, then grew still. You sat down, eyes closed, your hands still glowing faintly, not because you were different, but because you had returned to your sacred nature. In that moment, the world was no longer divided between science and faith. It was one single current of light, tender, infinite, embracing you fully. The one who was once unseen now witnessed, acknowledged and finally called by your true name, Chosen One. Part 3. The Sword and the Crown. The night was silent, but within you a battlefield stirred. No more laboratories, no gentle medical light, only a vast darkness stretched wide like an empty field. You stood there among fragments of memory, echoes of self-blame clashing like blades of iron. The wind no longer sounded like wind. It carried the voices of your own questions hurled toward heaven. Over the years, why me? What did I do wrong? When will the pain end? Each question fell to the ground, like a sword embedding deep, building a wall of steel around your heart. And then from that darkness came the sound of a blade being drawn. Not loud, but deep resonant, like it rose from the core of the earth itself. A thin beam of light appeared, revealing before you an angel. You could not see his face clearly, only his eyes glowing gentle as fire. In his hand was a long sword shining so brightly that its reflection exposed every scar upon your body. You trembled, not from fear, but from naked truth. Every wound, every failure, every small sin you tried to hide lay uncovered beneath the light of that sword. The angel looked at you for a long time, then said, "You have asked why the trials came. This is your answer. A sword is never forged in peace." He lifted the sword before you, and memories awakened betrayals, lonely nights, words that made you feel worthless. Each memory carved into the blade like inscriptions of pain, and yet, strangely, the light from it revealed the beauty of endurance. The angel spoke again. You thought your tears were only to wash away sorrow. No, they were oil anointing your soul. In every tear you shed, you were anointed without knowing. Each drop sanctified your scars, turning wounds into a crown. He stepped closer. The sword's reflection shimmered across your face. In that light, you saw yourself again, not weak, not afraid, but surrounded by an unearthly peace. "You've battled yourself for years," the angel said, his voice merging with the wind. "But the true war was never with the darkness around you, it was with the darkness within. This sword was never meant to slay enemies, but to cut the chains you wrapped around your own heart." He laid the sword down and touched your shoulder. From that touch, warmth spread deep through you, soft healing releasing the unseen weight you'd carried for so long. Every if only, every what if, every should have began to dissolve like mist after rain. "It's time," he said, "to release the punishment you placed upon yourself. You were not forsaken, you were chosen. Chosen to understand the pain of humanity so you could carry heaven's compassion into the world." A gentle breeze passed between you. The angel raised his hand, and from afar a crown appeared, not of gold, not of jewels, but of pure light. It floated in the air, radiating shades of white, blue, and gold, woven from every moment you've lived, both joy and sorrow. "This is not a reward," he said. "It is memory made holy. Every pain you've endured became a gem. Every act of forgiveness, a ray of light. Every time you rose again, a thread of glory. Wear it not to exalt yourself, but to remember power always walks hand in hand with humility. You knelt not from fear, but from softness of heart. When he placed the crown of light upon your head, the first feeling was not pride, but relief. A tear slipped down, fell to the ground, and shimmered into a streak of light. You heard the whisper in the wind, "You have overcome not by the sword, but by gratitude." And in that instant, you understood everything. Every trial was never meant to break you, but to teach you how to bow. For only when you bow, the crown does not fall. You opened your eyes. The field before you had changed color. Darkness faded, replaced by the tender blue of dawn. The sword was silent, yet its rhythm pulsed inside your chest, a new heartbeat, deeper, slower, peaceful. You rose as though stepping out from a long storm, your shoulders light, your heart calm, no longer afraid of your old wounds, no longer blaming those who hurt you. because now you saw they were only instruments in the hand of the one who forged you into light. The angel smiled, wings unfolding, his voice drifting farther away. You have been anointed for your mission. Go not with the spear, but with the light of your crown. When others look upon you, they will not see one who once fell, but one who has been forgiven. And through that light, they will find healing. You bowed your head. A breeze swept past, carrying the fragrance of new life. The crown upon your head was not heavy. It was warm, like the palm of heaven resting upon your forehead, imparting peace. You breathed deeply for the first time in years, unafraid of yourself. No need to prove. No need to strive. You simply smiled and whispered, "Thank you for letting me fall so I could learn to rise in love." And in that moment, the wind turned into a song, the light wrapped itself around you, and you knew the battle was over. The crown had been given. Part 4, the seventh door. As the light from your crown softened, you opened your eyes and found yourself standing in a long, endless hallway. The air was still so still you could hear the rhythm of your own heartbeat echoing in your chest. On both sides of the corridor stood 7 doors each, marked with a number carved in light. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. There was no guide, no voice from above, only the sound of your breathing and the faint glow from your crown spilling across the floor. Each door was beautiful, inviting in its own way, but deep inside you knew only one of them was true. You walked slowly toward the first door. Its light shimmered gold warm, comforting, promising. A whisper floated through the air. This is the quickest path. No more waiting. But your heart began to race, your breath uneven, as if your soul itself was warning you. You stepped back, remembering what the angel once said. The right door doesn't make your heart tremble, it makes it bow. The second door gleamed silver cold and reflective like a mirror. You saw yourself there, composed, flawless, scarless. But the image felt wrong, too smooth, too perfect, lifeless. You realized it was the door of illusion, a place where people are praised, but never truly alive. You shook your head and moved on. The third and fourth doors shimmered with nostalgia, temptations of the past. They promised you a second chance, a way to undo mistakes, to start again, as if nothing had ever been broken. It was sweet, almost irresistible, but you knew going back isn't healing. Going back is refusing to move forward. You smiled sadly and kept walking. The fifth door glowed pink, fragrant like memory. You heard laughter, familiar voices, faces you once loved. A part of you longed to stay there, in that soft refuge where everything still felt whole. But somewhere deep within you knew, when memory becomes a shelter, it also becomes a cage. You turned away. Tears fell, but your steps did not stop. The sixth door hid in shadow, no color, no sound, only the cold and the absolute silence of nothingness. Standing before it, you felt hollow, as if all your journey had lost meaning. A weary part of you wanted to open it, to stop walking, to rest. But in that emptiness, a small voice spoke, faint but clear enough to make your heart tremble. Do not be afraid. You turned toward the sound. At the far end of the corridor, the seventh door began to glow. Not bright, not blinding, but soft and pure, like moonlight through fog. Upon it shimmered 3 numbers, 777, the number of completion, of victory, of endings that lead into new beginnings. You moved closer. With each step, the corridor seemed to shorten. A gentle breeze carried the scent of dawns long past. When your hand touched the doorknob, no sound followed, only peace spreading through your chest. And then the same voice spoke again, this time from within your heart. You have walked far enough through the dark. Open the door. Do not fear. You exhaled softly. You had heard countless teachings, countless warnings, but never words that brought such calm. That voice felt like a hand resting gently on your shoulder, easing the tension you'd carried for years. Tears welled not from fear, but from being understood. You turned the handle. Light spilled out, not fierce, but tender as silk. It didn't push you forward, it invited you in. You inhaled deeply and stepped through, carrying no fear, no questions. On the other side was open brightness. No walls, no ceiling, only an endless sky and a whisper in the wind. You chose right. You stood there feeling the years of wandering dissolve like birds taking flight. And you realized the other doors weren't wrong, they just weren't ready. Had you chosen them, you still would have been loved, but you would have had to return again. The seventh door was the door of courage, the place where the soul stops running, stops choosing what's easy, stops chasing reward. A radiant light surrounded you, warmer than sunlight, gentler than an embrace. In that glow, you saw your whole journey, from the night of 1147 to the light that touched your skin, to the sword and the crown. Every chapter was leading here to this one holy moment of stepping through the right door. You heard your breathing merge with the rhythm of the universe. No boundary remained between you and the light. And in that sacred stillness, heaven spoke once more, calm and kind. Do not fear, for you are no longer alone. Every trial was only a call guiding you home. Tears fell soft as dew, not of sorrow, but of cleansing. You smiled and reached into the air around you. It was warm, alive, like touching the breath of creation itself. When you looked back, the 6 other doors had vanished. Only the 7th remained wide open, its light spilling out like dawn. You whispered, "I've chosen, and I'm not afraid anymore." A gentle wind swept through like the applause of heaven. And in that instant, you understood every 777 that ever appeared in your life was not just a sign, but a promise, a vow that when you are still enough to choose with your heart, heaven will always open the right door. You took one more step forward. The light enveloped you, soft, warm, utterly real. Behind you, the darkness closed quietly, peacefully. No thunder, no echo, only complete serenity. And in that eternal glow, a final voice spoke, tender as water, steady as eternity. You are home now. Part 5, the dawn after 11:57. The clock read 11:57 p.m. The air was so still you could hear each second passing. You stood there in the light of the 7th door, breathing slow, your heart calm like a lake untouched by wind. Outside, the sky was dark and deep, but from somewhere unseen, light began to pour down, thin, gentle, golden like honey. It didn't fall on you, it flowed from within you. And in that moment, you realized you were no longer waiting for a miracle, because you were the miracle. From afar came a faint sound like a song without words. Not a melody, but a prayer carried by wind and earth, by the souls who had walked before you, all of them blending together into a hymn that needed no instruments. You closed your eyes, letting the sound touch your heart, each note a blessing, each breath an embrace. When the clock turned 11:58, the crown on your head began to glow brighter, not dazzling, but warm, merciful. It flowed through you like a river of living light, washing away the remnants of fear, of wounds not yet healed. The old parts of you were dissolving, not erased, but reconciled. You remembered the old nights, the nights of tears, the nights of begging, the nights of waiting, those nights that once felt endless. But now you understood, dawn never comes from the east. It begins the moment the heart stops fearing the dark. The clock struck 11:59. A breeze moved through, carrying the scent of white chrysanthemums, the same fragrance you smelled in that first dream, the night when light touched your skin. You opened your eyes. No more corridors, no more doors, no more battlefield, only a space of pure white where all things dissolved into light. And there in the center you saw a hand, the same hand that once rested on your shoulder in the beginning. Now it reached out again, not commanding, just inviting. No words, only a gaze full of compassion. You stepped forward, not afraid, not questioning. That hand touched your forehead soft as dew, and at that exact moment the bell rang. 12:00 a.m., not the sound of ending, but the sound of beginning. Light surged, not harsh, but tender, expanding in every direction. Your heart beat in a new rhythm, not faster, not stronger, but deeper, wider, peaceful. And you heard the voice, not from above, but from within. The night is fulfilled. A new season begins. You knelt not from fear, but from gratitude. Tears fell, but they carried only joy. Each drop touched the ground and turned into tiny flowers, blossoms of peace, forgiveness, rebirth. All around you, a garden began to bloom. You brought your hands together. There were no words left to ask, only a quiet surrender. You gave it all: fear, mistakes, memories, faith, and hope. And inside you whispered, "I have walked through the night. Now teach me how to live in light." And from somewhere beyond, a tender reply came, soft as breath, "And I will be with you in every dawn." In that instant, you understood. A new season doesn't arrive by calendar. It begins the moment the heart finds stillness. 11:57 was only a number. 12:00 was only a mark in time. The true beginning was when you stopped resisting yourself and let the light lead the way. The world around you slowly faded into dawn. The sky turned pink, the air warm and fragrant with new earth. You stood, your feet touching ground that felt newly born. The world hadn't changed, but the way you saw it had. You inhaled deeply, letting the light fill your chest. Every cell seemed to sing. You felt love for life itself, and even for your cracks, for they were the path that brought you here. A small bird crossed the sky, releasing the first note of morning. You smiled. The light reflected on your skin, no longer a holy glow to be proven, but the quiet radiance of someone who has forgiven themselves. You turned to look behind at the place where the night had once stood, where 11:47 had echoed, where you had trembled beneath the sign. 4:44, where you were anointed, where you crossed the seventh door. It all felt distant, yet profoundly real. You whispered a final prayer to the night now at rest. "Thank you for keeping me until the dawn." And as the first sun of the new day rose, you said nothing more. You simply stood still, letting the light pour into your eyes, into your heart, into every healed fracture within you. Silence. Not the silence of emptiness, but the holy silence where every question is answered by presence, and every pain is held in peace. You took a slow breath in and released it gently, and you knew the night had ended, but this light would never fade. And within that sacred stillness, a promise echoed, not in words, but in warmth that spread through your soul. From now on, the dawn will always find the place where you stand. Golden light filled the air like a thin veil drawn across the old world. Everything shimmered, not because it was new, but because you were finally seeing with changed eyes. You stood in what once was the hallway of 7 doors, now transformed into boundless light. Above you, the sky glowed amber gentle as the breath of God. You heard no more bells, no more wind, no more calling, only presence, steady, whole, wordless. It felt like being held in the palm of the one who had watched over you since the beginning. A soft breeze whispered, familiar, eternal, "You are not forgotten. You are chosen." You smiled. Once those words made your heart tremble. Now they made it still. Because you finally understood to be chosen is not to be exalted but entrusted to love. And to be not forgotten is not to be favored, but to be kept to shine. You bowed your head, whispering, "I am here, ready for the new day." The light from your crown faded into the air, leaving only a faint glow upon your shoulders, a quiet reminder that the holy remains even when unseen. You were no longer the seeker of signs, but the bearer of them. The sky turned blue, and from the horizon, the sun stretched upward, pouring golden light like honey. You breathed deeply, warmth expanding in your chest. Everything you once prayed for, love, forgiveness, faith, had merged into one word: peace. You opened your eyes, looked ahead, and spoke not to anyone in particular, but to every wandering soul, still lost in their night as you once were. Do not fear. You are not forgotten. You are chosen. If you hear these words, it means the light has found you. Leave the night behind and open your heart to the dawn. Believe that every 444 and 747 you see is not coincidence, it's heaven remembering your name. You lifted your hand, the golden light slipping through your fingers like thousands of tiny stars. Your heart rested, your lips curved into a quiet smile. One chapter closed, but the light kept writing. Before the brightness dissolved completely, you spoke one last time, not loud, not rushed, just enough to echo in the listener's heart. If this message touched your soul, leave your mark. Type Amen or 777 as your confirmation that you've heard the call. Share this light so it may reach someone else as it has reached you. And if you are ready, walk with us, for the journey of the chosen ones has only just begun. The sound faded. Only golden light remained, the light of peace, of hope, of a new beginning. You are not forgotten. You are chosen. This is your dawn.